Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is null, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
It's you and the senorita. Woofer blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker. Back in the mama seat, top down like a player. And the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme say. Running game like a cheater.
So if you wake up... Thank you, allergies. Yay, spring is here. If you wake up in the morning feeling despondent about where you are, if you want a little pick-me-up, if you want a little reassurance that things are not as bad as they could be, do what I do occasionally. Read Detroit newspapers, like the Detroit News. Now, look, horrible things happen all over this country, all over this world. But here's something that, it was just unbelievably telling to me. It was unbelievably telling to me about humans and their regard for the lives of other humans. This happened, like I said, in Detroit. Detroit News columnist who wrote it actually noted the silence on the matter from the Black Lives Matter crowd and the city's activists and pastors who are so vocal about racially divided violence. This guy, Nolan Finley, for the Detroit News, wrote, on Saturday, 6-month-old Miracle Murray was playing in the front yard of a West Side home with other children and a young man. A car passed by once and then again. On the second pass, a man stepped out, raised a gun, and fired it several times. Miracle, who got her name because she was the product of a difficult pregnancy, was hit by a bullet and killed. The 24-year-old man with her was wounded. Detroit police arrested and released 2 suspects and still believe the attack is related to an earlier deadly drive-by shooting in late March in the same neighborhood. While other children were waiting for the Easter Bunny, the devil himself visited the home of 3-year-old Anaya Montgomery. She died in her bed. The article goes on to say, Anaya and Miracle were poor and African-American and lived in the rough city. The lives of the little girls in Detroit didn't matter enough to fill the streets with protesters demanding justice for them. And you go a little deeper and you find out that this 6-month girl in Detroit was most likely murdered in a drive-by that was in retaliation for the drive-by last month that killed that 3-year-old girl. An eye for an eye. A life for a life. The lives of innocents ended. And the lives of the little girls in Detroit didn't matter enough to fill the streets with protesters demanding justice for them, or to force City Hall to make gang busting its top priority, or to spur every preacher in the city to stand in the pulpit and declare a holy war on child killers. No. Went largely unnoticed. The absolute disregard for human life is shocking. The willful killing of a child, an innocent child, is just something I have no words for. A form of retaliation. The perpetuation of a cycle of violence that is utterly baseless. It's unconscionable and it's unbelievable and it's hypocritical that in a town where streets are regularly filled in protest of racially divided violence, or violence that finds its roots in racial divisions between adults. You can fill streets full of protesters. You can fill streets full of people that will tell you that they feel their lives don't matter. But it was all noticeably absent for the lives of these two little girls. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Say ho, say ho, whoa, ho, whoa. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Hot 1, hot 2, hot 3, hot 8.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day you're going and working, running that rat race at that pace in that place. Will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone, working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say, for you, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over, yeah. I do what I want, when I want, how I want.
So on the back of a story of utter disregard for human life, the human life of children, I find it necessary to point out a bright spot in humanity that I came across this morning as I was getting ready for the show. And it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Kids are being born into situations where their lives are being taken in retaliation. Before they've had a chance to be anything other than perfect and innocent, their flame is extinguished. Who knows what they could have gone on to do? Who knows what they would have gone on to do? And the point is moot now. We don't know. But we do know that they were born into a life where people didn't care. People didn't care enough to protect them the way they should be protected. I'm not blaming parents because you don't know the situation. You don't know what happened. You don't know who the instigator was. But in retaliation for the killing of a child, another child's life was taken purposefully. Who knows if even the right child was killed? But let's assume that the parent of the child that was murdered in retaliation had something to do with the initial drive-by that killed another kid. It's unconscionable. It's too horrific to even try and make any sense or reason of. But we do know that children are being born to people every day, every minute, every hour, every second that are not fit to be parents, that should not be allowed to be parents. And those who would give a child a loving home, for whatever reason, have nothing but barriers in their way when they want to harbor and love a child, make them their own, give them a family that they never had. And like I said, there is a bright spot to all of this that I found. Story of a 9-year-old kid called Tristan in Massachusetts. Foster child. Now, Tristan's a foster child, and 4 years ago, he came to live with his foster family. His mom was living a life of prostitution and drugs. And she left him when he was 5 years old on the doorstep of a shelter on a 17-degree day. Today, Tristan is living a happy and loved life with his foster family who wants to adopt him. Adoption, I don't know if you've ever tried to adopt. I don't know if you have friends, family, loved ones, relatives that have ever gone through the adoption process, but it's not easy. There's a lot in the way. It's very expensive. And some people want a child so bad. They want a family so badly, and for whatever reason, they don't have one or can't have one. And a kid that has almost no shot in this world has within their grasp a family, a loving home. Yet what has to happen between that point and the point where he is or she is legally a part of a family? It's crazy. The hurdles you got to jump, the hoops you got to go through. It's absolutely unbelievable. The amount of effort it takes and the amount it can deplete a family's finances is unbelievable. Anyways, this kid, Tristan, his foster mom, Donnie Davis, said, he's already part of our family. In mine and my husband's hearts, he is our son. And this kid, this 9-year-old kid, amongst his family's financial efforts to try and make him theirs, he started selling lemonade and cookies in the hopes of raising enough money to pay for his own adoption. After news of his story spread, the family raised $14,000. More than enough of the $5,000 necessary for the adoption. Davis says all the extra money will go towards Tristan's education. And we live in a world, it's crazy, the juxtaposition between the two ways of life. A child in some neighborhoods is meat to be wasted in gang retaliation. Horrible, awful, despicable, unconscionable people that have no regard for human life and no regard for the life of a child. And on the flip side of the situation, there are families that will give anything to give a child a loving home. A kid that will take his own adoption into his own hands and help a family take him in by selling lemonade and cookies to pay for his adoption. I don't know what you had to do to win your parents' affection or attention, or what you felt you did to make them happy. But chances are you woke up in a home and you went, this is my mom and dad. Hey, look, mom and dads, they can mess you up pretty good. Not everything's perfect. And maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But did you ever mow lawns? Did you ever walk people's dogs? Did you ever sell lemonade by the side of the road thinking it would bring you a mom and dad? Probably not. But we salute this kid, and we salute his determination, and we salute his family, and we say thank you for being some of those that care.
About 10 with puppies in my face, saying, Dad, gotta join.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radioland. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring us on, come on. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. Well, that's a new one. Here I come again.
So we are joined on the show again today by Dave Hines.
Hey.
Oh my God! Like the voice is shocking every single time it happens. So used to having Funkhauser on with me, and Funkhauser and I both sound like we had only a flirtatious relationship with adulthood and the puberty that ensued before it. So like when a real man is on the show doing manly things, speaking in a manly way, I'm always a bit taken aback. But what's Funkhauser doing today? He said he's on. I don't know.
You use a lot more big words than he does, though. That's what I'm saying. You sound like a grown up.
I sound like a grown-up.
Yeah, Funkhauser doesn't use any big words, so.
Oh, I don't know. I think
I don't know what he's doing.
Funkhauser, it's interesting because he runs all sorts of like. Funkhauser's a dark horse, man. He's like an onion. You peel back a layer. There's another one. Like, did you know? And we've talked about this on the show before. Did you know that Funkhauser, before he got into radio, was? Do you know? Well, I'm going to ask you. Do you know what he did before he got into radio?
I don't.
He was an architect.
What?
Yeah. Oh. Mm-hmm. There's buildings in Northern California that Funkhauser designed. Nothing like crazy or fancy, I don't think. But it's just, an architect that's like a real, like people in radio.
That's a real job.
Yeah, people in radio are scared and intimidated by folks that have real jobs. You know, it's like, what do you mean you don't pontificate for 30 seconds at a time between Metallica songs? Wow. How does that even... Well, you went to school and you learned how to do something that involves some math and, you know, real things that you can touch, like buildings. It's crazy. It's like unbelievable. And like Funkhauser traded it all in, traded a career. Like, and an architect is like, that's a really good job.
It's a job that people would make up having. George Costanza on Seinfeld used to like to tell people he was an architect.
Exactly. Yeah, no, like that when people want to lie about their job to make them seem more impressive.
Yeah. That's one of them.
They do what Funkhauser jacked in to talk to us knuckleheads every single day. It's crazy to me. So I don't know. Maybe he ran short on cash and he's designing some buildings to fill the gap between paychecks. I don't know.
Just picked up a couple of building gigs here.
Yeah. See that one over there? That's mine. But it's crazy. Like, dude, we don't have anything tangible that we can touch or see or relate to and go, we built that. You know, like all we have this. We've got hours and hours of archives of us pointlessly rambling. And meanwhile, Funkhauser's got buildings he can point to and go, I designed that. That's there because of me. I built something. Yeah, it's crazy impressive. It's unbelievable.
Dude.
So he's probably off doing something important and difficult that we would never be able to relate to.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
How have you been? How have things been over on the? You work on The Voice.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I help. If you go watch The Voice, the way that audience is, when you see it on TV, like. You got to get everybody pumped up, fired up, and coached up. And so I kind of do that and go over the things with them about here's what's going to happen. Because sometimes, cameras are running through those pits full of people. And so, you just kind of do all that stuff. It's really fun. If you're ever in L.A., you should go see any show, honestly. Go see a live taping or something like that when you're in Los Angeles. It's fun.
And you'll see Dave Hines there. You'll be like, hey, there's a guy with the incredibly deep voice.
You may see me. I break it down, too. You got to get up and dance and everything,
You dance?
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know.
Why not?
It's one of those things.
Look,
that,
if I want people to get up and have a good time and dance, then I'm going to do that. Because then that dude who's too cool to do all the, the things that you have to do to make it look good on TV, that guy has no excuse.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
So you're essentially a fluffer for
I'm exactly that.
That's awesome. Well, somebody had to be, and I'm glad it's you because it makes for some excellent stories, and it means you get to dance in front of the Voice crowd.
That's right.
We're going to get to the events of today in our segment, My Witness News, right after we've been talking about the idea of parents and parenthood, and people that have kids, and people that maybe have foisted their kids off onto someone else, or who have worse abandoned them. And comedian Sam Morrill had something interesting to say about meeting his biological father for the first time.
I just met my biological father, and the place he took me out to lunch, it turned out to be a family-style restaurant. Kind of ironic. They should make broken family-style restaurants, right? You just walk in like, where's the waiter? Did this guy abandon us or something? They forget to come out and sing happy birthday. They're like, we forgot. Next year we're going to nail it, though. Another guy comes out. He's like, I don't work here. I'm just sleeping with the owner. I'll be your step waiter. I feel bad for kids now because we tell kids they can be whatever they want, but we don't give them the odds. I'm going to be honest. If my kid is like, Dad, can I grow up to play in the NBA? I'm going to be like, look, statistically it's possible, but let's take a look at this chart. I've taken the liberty of factoring in your size and race, and it doesn't look good. You're a tiny Jew. That's why we named you TJ, actually.
All right, let's take a look at the events of today in our segment, My Witness News.
All right. Guess what?
I never will. You'll have to tell me.
All right. A woman who became famous on the internet for her resemblance to Ted Cruz, she's going to shoot a porn movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny because, like, a buddy of mine was like, if you could watch porn with a Ted Cruz lookalike in it, would you? And I was like, out of morbid curiosity, possibly. And he's like, there's a twist to this situation. The Ted Cruz lookalike is a woman. It's that woman that everyone spotted on Maury, I think it was. They're like, holy crap, separate at birth, this woman and Ted Cruz. So, yeah, the Ted Cruz lookalike woman is going to shoot a porn movie. So, yeah, see you never, Stiffy. God. I think when you go to pre-order it on Amazon, you know how on Amazon, it's like, hey, if you like this, you might also want to spend your hard-earned cash on that.
Right,
You know,
right.
They try to hit you with the impulse buy right as you're ready to check out. I think when you pre-order the Ted Cruz, the female lookalike Ted Cruz porn movie on Amazon, when you pre-order it, it says you might also like red hot pokers to gouge out your eyes. Oh, go on.
President Obama gifted Queen Elizabeth a photo album of her with different U.S. presidents.
It's nice.
Yeah.
I think they probably both agreed the best picture was the one of her and James Madison. It's funny because she's terribly old.
Because she's old.
She's old. Yeah. How old is the Queen now?
Ooh, let's Google.
To Google we go. 90. She's 90.
90.
90
She
years
is
old.
90 years. Just turned 90.
Yeah, Happy birthday, Queen Elizabeth. She's, a lot of people, and rightly so, will look at the royals in England and go, our taxes pay for them to live this incredible lifestyle. What the hell is up with that? It's like the most pointless thing. They're living high on the hog while people are starving in the streets. This is an incredibly wrong thing. But I find that English people have an illogical attachment to the idea of royalty. And I think a lot of it stems from Queen Elizabeth and the role she played in World War II as an inspirational figure, as people were getting ready to fight for Queen and country. She had, who knows if they were written for her or what the case was, but she really, in a very sort of Churchillian way, inspired the war effort and was absolutely a figurehead in a very dark time. And I think a lot of the reason why people still have this dedication to the royals, despite the fact they know it defies anything that makes logical sense in England, is because of the inspiration she provided back in the day. And now she's getting older. She's like 90. I don't know if that's still going to exist when she's gone. I don't know if Prince Charles, and there's the jury's still out on whether or not Prince Charles is going to abdicate the throne and he might just remain Prince Charles and never be King Charles. We don't really know, but I wonder if you're going to get that same sort of dedication, that same sort of idea of an inspirational figurehead for the country that people are still clinging on to since the Second World War in England. It's an interesting one as she gets older to see what's going to happen to the idea of royalty in England.
I think Kate Middleton, if she winds up being, if they write well for her, if they write good speeches for her when she's around, she'll be a hit. Yeah, the Brits love to be ruled over, quite frankly.
Yeah, I think she already is a hit. She definitely has a shot at becoming the next Princess Diana, I think.
Definitely.
Just in terms of someone who inspires and who brings out the best in people. A lot of people think that she's a good sort like that. And we'll wait and see how it all plays out. But I think the idea of royalty in England when the Queen goes, I think it's going to raise an awful lot of questions, especially if Prince Charles abdicates and goes like, I don't want to be the king. That seems like a bit of hassle, don't you know? Would my son like to do it? I'm off in the field. He's like this weird hippie esoteric guy. A very sort of like spiritual dude that likes to, sit cross-legged and meditate in the fields of Wales. It's an interesting one.
Of course, because if you had never had to do any actual work, you might come up with ideas like that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like a very, very strange thing. I mean, obviously a very fortuitous situation, but a very strange thing to be a royal.
I'll bet.
I can't even imagine. And they're pretty guarded about it. Like, they do interviews, but no one ever. I've never seen a conversation with the royals where they were just like, "Hey, so what's it like never working? What's it like?" How does that make you feel? Where do you get your sense of self-worth from? Is it just, your foundations and whatnot? You show up, you say a couple of flowery words, and you feel like you've really moved the needle? Because in some cases, they really have moved the needle. But it's weird. It's got to be a strange thing, because I know that, like, for for you and for me and for everybody listening, I'm guessing a good part of where you get your self-worth from, where you get your identity from, is what you've created in this world. The hard work that you do, the way that you get up in the morning knowing that you're helping to make the world go around, whatever it is you might be doing, whatever you might be staring down the barrel of on a Monday, whatever piece of soul-destroying drudgery that you go through to put food on the table and pay for a roof over our heads and things of that nature. As demoralizing as that can be sometimes, I think a lot of people just get value out of it, knowing like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is my contribution to the world. This is the cog that I am in this machine. This is how I'm making the world continue to turn. And that gives you a sense of worth and value and purpose and identity. And I just don't know. I wonder how you get that as a royal, as someone, a child of fortune that never really had to lift a finger if they didn't want to in their life. It's weird, very weird.
Yeah.
Strange stuff. Go on.
President Obama said that he's deeply concerned about the surge in violence in Syria.
Not as concerned as he is about correcting his slice, but still concerned nevertheless.
Of course.
And like people, it's funny, and my lefty friends are like, you're always on Obama for playing golf. And I was like, well, I was on George Bush for spending too much time at his ranch in Crawford, Texas. It's like, how do you guys find time for recreation at all, ever? I've said it before, I will say it again. I'm a goofy guy on the radio, and I don't have time to do crap. I have to spend, from the moment I wake up in the morning to the moment I fall asleep at night, I'm analyzing stats. I'm on the air. I'm looking at research to try and determine which Red Hot Chili Peppers or Metallica song will make iHeartMedia more money when I play it on the radio. It's like it's a goofy ass job, but it demands literally all of my time. And how anyone that's president has a time for any recreation whatsoever is beyond me. I don't get to do that. Like, I don't get to work on my golf game. You don't get to work on your golf game.
Right.
Seems fair to me.
Yeah. No. Oh, did you want to go to the next story so we don't get mad at everybody?
Sure, yeah.
Donald Trump says that he wants to act more presidential.
Oh, well, he should start working on his golf game then, because apparently that's a big part of it. Yeah. Donald Trump's family has been all over him. Like, you're running for president, you got to act more presidential. You got to not act like you. You got to not be you for a little bit. Like, okay, being you has gotten you this far. It's time to stop acting like you and appear to the rest of the world like you're taking this seriously. So Trump has said he wants to act more presidential. And then he proved it by saying that Rosie O'Donnell only sort of looks like a disgusting pig. There you go. It's baby steps.
Yes.
Jamming on the one like Theo Huxtable. Days like this when I feel untouchable. I try and make up for all the wrongs I did by living my life like a Cosby kid. Jamming on the one like Theo and Stevie. I know it sounds crazy, but you
Now, more AD on the radio.
back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me.
So, the female Ted Cruz lookalike that we were talking about that's
Right.
going to be making porn, Conan had an interesting point about her.
This is crazy. A woman who looks exactly like a female Ted Cruz has been asked to star in a porn movie. Yeah. So finally, a cure for your porn addiction.
Speaking of porn, let's resume the news and discuss what's going on in Utah.
Oh. Whoa. Sometimes the news comes on very loud.
Right.
The governor of Utah signed a bill declaring pornography a health hazard.
Right. Now, they're not outlawing it or anything like that. They're not making it illegal. But it's sort of like, I think porn in Utah, I don't know if they're going to have to repackage this stuff up for people that actually still go to the adult store and purchase a DVD or whatever the hell the case may be. Or maybe websites will have to display a disclaimer in Utah. But in much the same way that cigarettes and alcohol come with health warnings, pornography now will in Utah, which sounds ridiculous, but Do you know that maybe they know something we don't? Because Utah, the holy rollingest state of all,
Right.
Utah has the record in America for streaming the most online porn, just like far and away. And Utah streams far and away the most online porn and far and away the most gay online porn, interestingly enough. In a place where I think you can still get stoned in the street for being gay, people are watching gay porn at a rate of knots. So it's interesting. Pot, kettle, all right, never mind. But yeah.
Stoned in the street for being gay, really?
Well, I mean,
that seems like a law that might still be on the books there.
So let me ask you this: Do you think that pornography could be a health hazard in any way, shape, or form?
I think too much of anything is bad for you. Maybe an orthopedic surgeon might have something to say about it.
That's the thing. Like, maybe they know something that we don't. They're watching more porn than the rest of the country put together, pretty much. Maybe they've got insights into very bad chafing problems. I don't know.
We've been watching a lot of porn just to see. We've done a lot of clinical research, if you will.
Yeah, we know. I don't know. I found the only situation where porn can be hazardous to your health, in my personal experience, is when your girlfriend catches you watching it.
Yeah,
ladies, you want to yeah, uncomfortable. If you really, 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 really want to make your relationship work, you should have an open browser policy with one another. You really should, because I mean, there's stuff that he's into that he's not going to feel comfortable talking to you about. But go through his browser history and discover what he likes and give him that. He will never go anywhere. Don't judge. Don't be, well, I mean, obviously there's some things that are categorically wrong. But, provided everything is legal and above board, don't judge. And you don't have to give him that. Just give him a hint that you know that he likes that and you are willing to cater to that every now and again. Like, trust me, that he will love you forever. You really want trust and understanding in a relationship? Check your boyfriend or husband's browser history, figure out what he likes, and give him that. And feel free to leave your Pinterest page open as well, so he knows exactly what type of wallpaper you want in the living room, and you'll be good to go. Trust me, browser history openness among couples is what is going to get us there as a country that is looking for love.
Interesting.
What else?
I'd never even thought about that. New studies suggest that women are less stressed after their husband dies.
What about when they're just dead inside after 10 years of marriage? Probably still stressful.
Oh, yeah.
That point in their life where they're going, I'm trying to remember the last time I opened up a door in my home and you weren't the one behind it.
Yeah, that's got to be bad. Oh, man.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I think love is the greatest thing ever. Love is when it works, when you have someone that cares for you. When you have someone that cares for you, love is just about almost enough sometimes. Mm-hmm. The high times and the low times and all the times in between. If you have someone that really has your back, it will absolutely make up for any number of horrific things that may be going on in your life. Love really is the greatest thing. It really, really is. You know what I think the key to making a relationship work is?
What's that?
I think it's be nice. I mean, it sounds like such a boring quality.
It's true.
It sounds like such a boring quality. What do you like so much about her? She's really nice. She's like the nicest person I've ever met. Nice will get you there. Nice will help you sustain. Nice is what you need.
And genuine nice, too. I would say, like, deeply nice and caring.
Yeah.
That kind of nice. Not the fake nice.
If you're only pretending to care, people can see right through it, especially if that's a person that you share a bed and a home with and a life with. Like, if you're faking the funk of being nice.
Right.
It's not going to,
So what you're saying is that if your wife moves in with a guy who changes truck tires for a living, that is not nice.
That is not nice. That is not like, did someone do that to you once?
Maybe.
That's not very nice.
Maybe. You know what, though? I'm sure they're very happy now.
That wasn't very nice of her.
No, it wasn't.
Well, I hope the person that you wind up with next will be nicer than that. A buddy of mine who, like his kid, him and his wife try very hard to set an example for their kid. And they found that their fights are inevitable. Like, you're going to have fights no matter what in a relationship. It's how you treat each other within the context of those fights that's what matters. Like, it's been proven that 85% of the fights that couples have, they have them over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And they will never be resolved. These disagreements will never be resolved. You're never going to come to a conclusion, a compromise that works for both people. So you're going to have the same fights over and over again for the entirety of the time that you're together, and they will not be resolved. And what really matters is how you treat one another within those fights. And my friend said, and him and his wife have a great relationship anyway. Like, they've been one of the few couples I've ever met that have been together since they're like 15 years old, and it's all working out. But like, he said, now when they fight and one says something out of turn or that doesn't seem fair, is unnecessarily aggressive, they talk to each other the way they talk to their kid, where they go, hey, you need to be nice. And you know what? They're right.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is.
The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
Sitting in with us today to make up for the absent Barry Funkhauser, who is off doing important radio things, Dave Hines is on the show.
Good morning.
Dave Hines is, Funkhauser was, I guess, listening to a replay of one of our shows on America's Talk. He was like, oh, it's so good.
Oh.
So good. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
So I want you I want you to know, we all think you're doing a hell of a job.
Oh, well, thanks, man. It's fun hanging out with you. I like your spin on things. You know what you're talking about. This is cool.
Well, I don't know about that, but I
know
that
what you're talking about. That's, I think, what I'm saying.
It's always a good thing to know. It's good to be understood. I do know that for me, Funkhauser is control freak. Yeah, I guess you'd call me a control freak.
Yeah, because he produces my show too, so I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, no, like I'm a control freak. I've always been an island, and Funkhauser is one of the very few people that I've ever worked with where I feel comfortable being like, Funkhauser's looking after this. I can go home and go to sleep,
right,
or what have you. Like I can trust Funkhauser. He inspires that confidence where I'm just like, whew, okay, everything's gonna be fine. Funkhauser's looking after it. Funky's on the case, and he found you, and you know what? That was another decision of his that I implicitly trust. He's like, hey, I think we might have somebody for when I got to go away, and so it's really great to have, people in life that make you breathe a sigh of relief are few and far between, and they're very valuable. And you have joined those ranks. So thank you so much, Dave Hines, for carving time out of your busy schedule, being on The Voice and being the voice of cartoons and being on the radio to just come and hang out and do this nonsense every day.
It's
I really
really
appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
And the people listening appreciate it as well. They might not realize how much they appreciate it, but if you heard me with somebody else, you'd appreciate it. Okay. All right, let's roll through what remains of the news, shall we?
Oh, yes, we shall. Well, Hillary no. Hold on. This hit close to me here. Uber is now allowing drivers to ask for tips.
Well, why does this hit close to you?
Because I use Uber a lot. And a lot of times I've felt like, hey, this guy was really cool. Like, a lot of times they'll turn me on to new bands or something, and I'm like, I'd like to leave that guy a tip.
Interesting.
Just through the app. That would be cool if I could do that.
Well, here's the thing. People are kind of up in arms about this because, Uber is now allowing drivers to take tips. Mm-hmm. And I told my friend that. He's like, oh, that's fantastic. Because, if anyone deserves a little extra, it's the creepy dude in the Prius who spent my entire last ride making excruciating small talk while adjusting his mirror so he could shamelessly check out my girlfriend's rack. And I was like, so you haven't had a good experience with it? Like, I've never Ubered. I've never used ride sharing before. No, don't go out drinking. So
I don't go out drinking very much either. I still use it all the time because I like it.
Well, I mean, like if you live in a city like Los Angeles where parking is just a miserable bitch of a proposition, then I think that's where Uber becomes extraordinarily useful. If you're drinking, or if you are in a place where, parking is really tough, then the times that I've wanted to use Uber is when I'm going to an airport. Like, I don't want to have to pay for parking at the airport. I should just Uber my way out there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, you don't want your maiden Uber or Lyft voyage to be something where you might miss a plane if you just don't understand how to navigate the app properly. But yeah, so there's like a lot of reasons why Uber became successful. It's cheaper than a cab. You don't have to stand on the street or make a call to get one, and all the payments are handled automatically. But apparently, one of the best things is that there's no tipping. People really liked that. And Uber said the tip was built into the price, and the whole thing was really refreshing and really simple. Emphasis being on was, because now you're probably going to have to start tipping your Uber drivers. Uber settled this lawsuit with its drivers this past week just gone by, and one of the big results is that the drivers are now allowed to accept tips, and it's because the drivers sued for it. You don't have to tip them, but here's the thing, as Dave Hines knows, the drivers get to rate you after the ride, too, meaning if you're a weird creeper or just the type of person that you don't want to deal with, they can give you a rating. If they have a bad experience with you, they can let other Uber drivers know, don't pick this person up. So if you don't tip and drivers keep giving you bad ratings, your score could drop so low that drivers could stop picking you up. And to make things worse, you're going to have to tip in cash because it has to be totally separate from the Uber app.
Really?
Yeah. And it might sound like the drivers were the big winners in the lawsuit, but a lot of people are saying they're not. Because, well, sure, they get tips, but the settlement lets Uber keep classifying them as contractors, so they don't have to pay for things like health insurance or other benefits. They just get tips. And you know what? Like, honestly, I understand that. This is free market economy working the way it should with Uber. Hey, you have a car, you want to provide a service, you don't have to jump through a bunch of government hoops, get a medallion, mortgage your entire life to rent your buddy's cab. No, you could just, you have a car, you want to make some money off of it, well, here's a conduit for that. And I love that. The small government, hey, I should be allowed to do the things I want as long as I'm not hurting people side of me really, really likes that. But I don't know, like Uber drivers wanting health insurance and benefits, it's just like, well, that's not why this service was put in place. This was put in place because you got a car and you want to make some extra cash off of it. The end. It's not like, you get to unionize over this. That's not what it was meant to be. They weren't supposed to be an employer. They were supposed to be, like I said, a conduit that takes some of your money. I don't know. It's interesting to see. Like, it's just, to me, this is the beginning of the slippery slope of like, this is where it's going to be ruined for everyone.
This is where the government's going to get involved.
Yeah. I told my buddy that had a problem with his last Uber driver that he didn't want to tip because he was making excruciating small talk and checking out his girlfriend's rack. I was like, Uber drivers can receive tips now? And he's like, yeah, here's a tip, get a job. I was like, okay. Oh. Ouch, bazinga. But I think isn't that what Uber, like, are there people that Uber full-time? That's what they do?
Yeah, I'll talk to a few of them that do that.
I mean, I got to imagine if you are doing something like trying to carve out a name for yourself in Hollywood, the flexibility of work whenever you want to.
Absolutely.
That's got to be gold dust. Like, I want to work now, and I know that if I, make myself available, I can get the work. That's really, really cool. And that's I don't know. I love the idea of Uber, and I don't know enough about how it works, but I love that idea of like, hey, I have this thing that allows me to provide a service, and I would like to do work with it and stimulate the economy and help people get where they're going. Like, that to me is the free market at its very best, giving people opportunity where there was none. Anyways.
And right, Uber and Lyft, by the way, if you're scared of them, I'm just saying I use them both all the time and love them, so you should give them a shot. But
we have not been paid for this.
No, we haven't. Trust me, I give them way more of my paycheck than I probably should. Excuse me. All right, so back on the news. Hillary Clinton's campaign says that she would definitely consider a woman as her running mate.
But because of Bill, it would have to be a really, really ugly woman.
Hey, guys. So, Hillary, you picking that new girl?
I wonder. Wow, that's a good Bill.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Very good.
Hey, D, you got any more stories about drivers checking out racks? Where do I get signed up for that Uber? I'm totally doing it. I got one of them big mirrors, with the concave thing, so you can see right down there. It's great.
Oh, very, very good. Very, very good. Who do you suppose Hillary Clinton's female running mate would be? I mean, Carly Fiorina, right? That was because usually what happens when someone picks a vice presidential candidate to help them run for president, it tends to be someone from the field of hopefuls that thought they would be president that just a couple months ago were saying what a horrible, awful person they were and how everything would go horrifically wrong for the country if they got even a whiff of presidential power.
Exactly.
And now they're like, we are on their team and we are ready to take America to 2016. Yeah,
that was before I really got to know them.
Yeah. I sat down with him, I talked to him, and I understand that they're actually a good person now, not the horrible, evil troglodyte destined to ruin America that I said they were just 24 hours ago. Anywho, yeah. Who would it be? Ruth Bader Ginsburg? I'm not sure. Who would a vice presidential female running mate be for Hillary? If
I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, neither do I. I get a lot of people wanted Elizabeth Warren to run.
Right.
A lot of people were all about Elizabeth Warren running, and I don't know. She definitely, I think, would capture the public imagination on the left. I think that would get people out to vote. You know what's interesting though? Donald Trump. Donald Trump is like a lot of people. It really is kind of in a lot of ways anybody's race, depending on what information you read that day. Donald Trump is apparently pulling a lot of Democrats, like people that don't like Hillary, have kind of come over to the Trump side and said it's East Coast Democrats that like Donald Trump, because up until about a second and a half ago, Donald Trump was an East Coast Democrat. That's what he was, and he changed teams lickety freaking split to run for president, and he's kind of on his own team. But there's people that don't like Hillary because Hillary skeezes a lot of people out that are leaving the left to consider voting for Donald Trump on the right. It's weird because it's very strange. There's people that pull from opposite sides of the fence because of different aspects of their appeal. And Donald Trump is now looking stronger. I think it kind of got his position seemed a little weak there for a moment. He faltered. He'd been knocking him out of the park left, right, and center. And then it seemed he had a bit of a misstep, and now it seems he's back up in the game. And part of the reason for that is the fact that people from the left are saying we will happily cross political fences to vote for Donald Trump because we don't like Hillary, and Donald Trump, let's be real here, is just a Democrat. We all know this. So I don't know. It's weird. Go on.
Speaking of Donald Trump, his favorite Bible verse, he has now said, is an eye for an eye.
His second favorite, the meek shall inherit the earth. And let's build a wall around him.
So Time Magazine released their list of the 100 most influential people. I haven't seen it yet.
You can read more about it in the publication Things That Don't Involve Jeb Bush at All monthly.
Oh!
Who is on that list? Who's the...
I don't know.
I think Trump's on there.
I would bet. That makes sense.
Let's see.
Hillary's probably on there, too.
The 100 most influential people. Oh, you're going to make me sit through an ad, Time Magazine. How dare you want to make money off of your hard work?
Hey, I'm sitting through that same ad because this is radio and it's live.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. Let's move along. When the ad's done, we'll discuss the most influential.
So, hey, speaking of real jobs, the Secret Service is looking for qualified agents.
Yeah, that sounds fun. That sounds cloak and dagger. That sounds like yeah. That's the stuff that they write movies and TV shows and books about, being in the Secret Service.
Yeah.
So they're looking pretty hard for qualified agents.
Yes.
Not as hard as they're looking for Central American prostitutes, but they're looking hard nevertheless. So if you know anyone that's out of work that happens to be completely irresponsible, who likes booze and hookers, that's for them. Or maybe it's for you. I don't know. That describes a lot of my friends.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say that's a pretty good cross-section of the people that I've known over the years.
Yeah. Hey, we are all out of show. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for being a part of our radio family. I'll be back tomorrow. You and I will do this all over again. Thank you, Dave Hines, for filling in for Funkhauser. Hopefully we get you back soon.
My pleasure. I look forward to it.